Welcome back to Spirit Spells and Magic. In this episode, we are looking at wands, the different types of wands that you can either make or buy. In this particular episode, we're going to make one because, as you know, anything that you make yourself holds much more power when you go to use it later on. Now, why do I need a wand? Well, you don't really need a wand at all. In the absence of a wand, you can use your finger or hand, and it's just as powerful. Wands are often used in spell casting or rituals, but like most things, it's how you choose to do a spell that counts, and your intentions behind it. So you don't need a wand at all. In fact, on my altar, I don't even have a bell, and a bell is said to open a spell and close a spell, the sound of a bell. And I don't have one. I just haven't had a chance to get one. But it doesn't matter. Even if you have a wind chime or something that makes a noise, hey, even make a sound with your phone of a bell noise, and that would work. But as with most of these rituals and spells, it comes from within. It's what you believe and what you choose that is the power behind any of these spells and rituals, is your energy and your intention. That's what counts. So it doesn't matter if you've got a pile of sticks on your altar, but you place them with intention and you've got that thought and want behind it, and it'll be just as powerful as any seasoned witch or Wiccan, wizard, warlord, whatever you'd like to call it. Because it's your power. The power comes from you, and you are the reason that it'll work. There are some traditions involved in the Wicca religion of needing the wand to be a certain length and made out of a certain type, and you may have to cleanse the wand before you use it or cast a circle. There's lots of different things that you may have to do, but it's best to look into the craft that you choose so as that you know what you need. But if you're like me and you're just a little bit of an eclectic witch, which is basically dabbling in everything. I like kitchen witchery, I like forest witchery and garden witchery, but the thing is to tailor it to what you need it for. If it's just to be part of your altar setup and you don't need to put too much thought into it, that's fine. But if you're going to be using it for rituals and blessing items, then it's definitely worth putting as much intention and making it yourself. That way, you know it's got the full amount of your energy and power behind it. Wands can be made out of almost anything that you can think of. Traditionally, they're made out of wood, if you follow Wiccan traditions, and of late they could be made out of anything such as wood, copper, glass, metal, crystal, and obviously plastic. Be made out of anything you want. Making one is the easiest way to bond yourself with a wand, but you could also buy one and then bond with it afterwards. As this is going to be your conduit, you will conduct your energy through this wand and have energy attracted through the wand to you. You may choose to buy a wand, and if you're not very crafty or you're not a fan of having to make things yourself, by all means, there are so many to choose from online at various different stores. You can even try eBay and any other Wiccan and witchcraft stores that you can find online. Even Etsy. The only thing with a bought item or a gifted item is that you need to make it yours. What you need to do is hold on to the item and put your intentions like you would a piece of crystal. You hold the item, your thoughts and your energy goes into this item. And there are other ways you can do this by consecrating, which we'll do in another episode, as it's quite in-depth for a beginner. But for the most part, whether you choose to make or buy a wand, make sure it's something that you are happy with. Because after all, it's your wand and it's going to be used for you to work your magic. In this episode, as mentioned earlier, we are going to create our own wand using wood. You can find wood from around your property, or you can actually go and source wood, say, from your birth tree, or another tree that you feel pretty connected to. If it is just a tree on your property, make sure it's one that you like and that you feel a connection to. Always ask the tree permission to take a twig or branch, usually a twig or a small stick from the tree. We don't want to take half the limbs off a tree just to make a wand. But often trees will let go of any dead items that they no longer need, and they fall away to the ground. So if you find the tree that you want to make a wand out of, a lot of the times there's quite a few sticks or twigs that you might be able to find below the tree that will help you in making your wand. Now, it is best to thank the tree. You can take time, touch the tree, and say something sweet and nice thanking the tree. Show your gratitude. If you have an offering with you, leave it at the base of the tree. But it's always nice to give thanks and gratitude for nature helping us where they can. Once you're ready to start and you've found a nice piece of branch or twig, you can either sand it down or you can leave it in its natural state. From here, it's probably best to clean it. Maybe just get a wet wipe or a paper towel, or even just run it under the tap and just get rid of any dirt and impurities that are on the wand that you want to make sure that it's relatively clean for us. Heaven knows what's been running out there. Once you have your clean twig or stick ready to go, we can choose a number of different ways to decorate it. You can decorate it in any style you choose. Many people opt for ribbons, crystals, writing runes on the wand, having special messages for your wand written upon it, using nature and wire to even attach a crystal to the top. A lot of people find having a crystal to the point of their wand is very symbolic. Now, when you're decorating your wand, you want to have pieces on it that are significant to you, what you like. That's what's going to bond you with your wand and make it so much more powerful. If you're decorating with crystals, choose crystals that you like, even your birth crystal, as there are crystals for each month of the year as well. So you can really personalize this, and you can just choose things that you like as well, whatever's significant to you, because after all, it's your wand. You make it how you want it to look. You can do some things like looking up certain colours and the meanings of colours before you go ahead and paint your wand, if you choose to paint it. And you can always go as far as using candles too. The wax of candles to colour and pattern over your wand. There are many different ways we can decorate our wands. It's however you choose, and also what you've got around the house. You can spend as much or as little that you want on putting this wand together. You can purchase lots of different supplies to add to your wand, including things like feathers and gold paint, or gemstones that you don't have. You can purchase those. Beautiful ribbon. But there's lots of stuff, and you can get ideas from other people's wands. Some people just have a bare wand, just wood by itself, with maybe some runes or messages inscribed on the wand. And others, I've got one of my own that's been gifted to me, has crystals and ribbons and cloth and crystals on both ends, mind you. You can go as elaborate or as small as what you feel you need. It's your wand. You have to like it. It's going to be used in your craft. Now, there may be a couple of parts of your wand that you may need to trim down or clip off, as it's going to be in your hand, so you don't necessarily need bits sticking in you. and splinters and things like that. It's a lot easier if you take all the bits off that could be sharp and stab you while you're trying to use your wand, and just sand it down if you can, if it does have parts that a little bit rigid and may cause harm to your hand, using some 40 grade sandpaper, which is quite coarse, I believe, and that'll take, as you can see, take a layer of the branch off and makes it look a lot nicer and a bit smoother on the hands. Especially if you want to paint later on, you want to make the surface as smooth as possible, and with sandpaper it scratches it up a little bit, so paint and glue, and maybe even if you wanted to use polymer clay or air drying clay to attach to your wand, you can do that. I'm only going to go simple on this one, but the scratching up makes it a little bit easier for things to stick to it. Once you've finished sanding away, you should have something that's quite smooth and appealing. You can go even further and sand the natural bark off the branch, but these ones look pretty good and they've got quite a bit of character, and I'm quite happy with them at this stage. It may take a little bit of playing around, mix and match what you have at home and what you can get your hands on. And you might find that your original idea doesn't really look as good when you kind of start using it. I went through a couple of ideas with string, and although it didn't fit with one wand, the other one looked really good with the black string. So I continued wrapping the string around the end until it was all wrapped up and ready for the next bit of hot glue to get started. Now, I needed to use my hot glue gun for some things, so I did put the mat down. And first I wanted to just fix up the little bit of string that was hanging down on one and attach the cloth properly that I wrapped around the end of another. It was a bit of velvet cloth, and I thought that seemed to cover up that end that was quite wide. A little touch up here and there, and it seemed to stick pretty well. Now, hot glue can be really messy, so you've really got to be careful how you use it. I know in my attempts I made quite a mess, but that's okay with hot glue. You can usually pick away at bits of it to remove it. And that'll be evident further on when we get to the gluing of the crystals. Now, that first one with the string on the end needed it sealed down, otherwise it'd just keep coming off or unravel. And I could have tied it in a knot at the end and just cut it off, but I thought I might use some glue to seal it on. And I also have a little charm that I wanted to put on the end where the handle was. Now, there's a couple of ways that you can do this. You can thread it through your string and tie it on like that and have it hanging, but I wanted mine to be attached tightly so it wouldn't come off and dangle down. Now, it seems easier said than done. You have to remember that the hot glue dries really fast, so you need to be kind of quick when you do it, and be careful you don't burn yourself with that glue because it's really hot. And I was trying to work fast here and didn't realise I was out of frame there, but I got back in pretty quickly. Now, this one looked like it should have gone the other way, but it looked a little strange, and I may take that charm off at a later stage and put something else on. But it did look good initially. But as I said before, you probably change your mind a few times with what you're actually going to put on the wand. But before you get that hot glue out, maybe decide what it is that you're going to put on first, because it's unforgiving stuff and things may not be able to come off very easily. Bits of glue is easy to pick off, but large amounts of glue, and I find that when I'm trying to do my crystals later on, that it is pretty rough stuff. Now, I decided to use that pretty string that I wanted to use before on the wand end, and I started wrapping it around over that velveteen on the other wand. And it seemed to look pretty good, so I just kept going. Trial and error. There's a lot of that going on. But you have to expect that when you're a beginner, you haven't tried this before. Look, it may fail the first couple of attempts, but you learn with every attempt. So as you go along, you pick up how to do things. And that's how kids learn too. That's why I try and get my daughter involved with most of my crafts as much as possible. She was a bit busy at the moment, so I did the wand by myself this time. But she helped me pick out the wood anyway. Now here I am trying to work out what crystals are going to look best with the wand. It would have been nice to have had some red gems, and I did have some beads I was thinking of using as well, but I decided against the beads at the last minute and decided I'll just pop the crystals on there. So I picked out some dark colours. I believe it was pieces of onyx or tourmaline, black tourmaline, and a little piece of hematite that was mixed in there too, and some little amethyst chips as well. So I thought we'll go with those for a beginner wand. We'll see how we go. But choose all the favourite things that you like and just go for your life. If it doesn't work out, you know for next time. Now we start by putting the bits of hot glue on the wand. It may be best to do one at a time, as I found as I was doing it was drying way too fast and I couldn't get the stones to stick sometimes. So it's best to, I know that hot glue gun just keeps running out, so you got to be quick, but I tried to do as many as I could at once and that kind of failed because the glue dried before I could get it on there. But definitely do one, stick it on. Do another, stick it on. As soon as you put that glue down, grab a gemstone and stick it on, because it just seems to be a little bit more effective than what I'm doing here. But learn from my mistakes, as I say almost every video. Definitely watch how I do it, and you can definitely see how to better do it yourself and how I'm going to better do it next time. But it does look nice. They're coming along pretty well. And unfortunately with glue, the hot glue gun, the little strings of glue go everywhere. It's like a spider's web. So you got to be careful that, as you can see, I'm picking bits of it off everywhere. But it still does look pretty good. And you can space them out. You may even want to use a texter or something like that to draw on the wand first where you're going to put them, so that way you know exactly where that glue is going. I'm just going random hell for leather here, as you can see, but it does still kind of turn out anyway. It's a bit of fun, and if you do have kids, make sure that you're doing the hot gluing, because it burns when you touch the glue. But after a while it starts to take form, and you can just keep applying the glue. If things aren't sticking, keep trying with that glue and it'll eventually come good. But yeah, no, it definitely is starting to take form now. And as I said before, you can pick away at the little bits of glue that are stuck to the sides and pretty it up a bit once you've finished. But yeah, they're stuck on good now. I thought I'd stick a little star at the top. So I had a little red star, just to break up the colour a little bit, add a little bit of red. Now that both of them have their little pieces on the end, it's time to get started with the crystals. Now, this is a real trial and error. I thought to myself, we should be able to get the crystal and string it straight to the stick. But it just didn't seem to want to work that way. Every which way I tried it, I couldn't get the string to attach in the center without letting go, and then it kind of bending in half, if that makes any sense. So I had a couple of attempts at doing this and then pretty much threw in the towel with it, because I just couldn't seem to get that crystal to stay. And I know other people have done it before, and I tried to look up if someone had successfully done this, but I couldn't find anywhere where they hadn't already kind of attached string to the crystal in some kind of form and then attached it to the wand. And then I attempted to try it with wire, thinking, well, the wire tightly wound should hold them together a little bit better, so I can kind of use both my hands to wrap. But it didn't seem to kind of work either. It would loosen. I couldn't get it to stay tight enough that it would hold together. But this is how we learn, as said before. we've got to make these mistakes before we can work out how to make them better for the next time. But yeah, I really did think that the wire was going to work, but it just didn't seem to really want to hold. And then I thought, well, look, I've got the wire on there. I'll wrap I'll wrap the string around the wire. That's got to work. So I tried this. But definitely, yeah, there was only going to be one solution here, and I didn't really want to do it, just in case maybe I wanted to take my crystal off the wand and change it or something like that. But after much failing at getting this thing to wrap and hold the crystal to the wand, it was pretty evident that I was going to have to use the hot glue gun. Yeah, but I still battled on a little while. Tried to get it as much as I could to stay, using 2 pieces of string. But yeah, nah, it was futile. It just wasn't, unless you can get it tight enough, because I think that was my issue, is I couldn't wrap it and hold it tight enough so that it wouldn't bend. And I felt like I need another pair of hands, someone helping me. But if you're going to do it yourself, the hot glue has got to be the only way you could really do it, because it's going to seal them together or bond them together and free up your hands. At one point it did look as though it was going to work. And I mean, it did hold it, but it was pretty wonky. No, that wasn't going to do. So unfortunately, I pulled the end off it and readied the hot glue gun. And this works out really well if you're happy to lose your crystal to the wand for good. Or maybe we might be able to salvage it. I'm not 100% sure. But I thought, look, I wanted to make my own wand anyway. So I went ahead. At the end of the day, look, I can pick up more crystals, that's fine. And it really looked good. Once it stuck to it completely, it started to really look like a magic wand. Now that was one of them that I'd managed to get the crystal attached to. So I thought I'd put that aside and let that dry while I worked on the other one. Oh, and one of the little crystals fell off while I was handling it, so you have to be careful with that as well. But there's probably other ways you can use that glue gun to kind of make like a little seal around each crystal that kind of holds it in, kind of like a gemstone in a ring, in the cradle of a ring. So there's probably some way that you can get the crystals without putting the hot glue over the top of the crystal so you can't see it, but nesting it kind of inside the glue somehow. But it looks good, and I quickly wrapped a little bit more of that velvet around the top while it was still gluey, and that looked really nice too. That kind of hid the unsightliness of the glue. No, it was really good. It worked out really well, and I started to like it even more now. Now, onto the second wand. I was deciding what I was going to put around the crystal to make this one look a little bit nicer. And I thought I'd go with the original idea of the string. So while it was still hot, the glue that was holding the crystal to the wand, I wrapped the string around and kept going until it looked nice and it wasn't straggly. I did need to use a little bit of hot glue to kind of stick the string down, as the hot glue was still oozing out everywhere, even though I'd pulled it out of the plug. But it was still hot, and I was able to use a little bit of glue to kind of seal off the ends and wrap some more string around. And this one started to really take shape as well. With a little bit of glue at the end, that sealed that down, and the second wand was now done as well. Now you can choose to add some extras if you like, some ribbon or paint or anything you like really. It's your wand. At the end of the day, it's what you like and how you want your wand to look that's most important. It doesn't matter about what anyone else thinks. It's your wand. Now the wands are complete. You've done it all yourself, and really, I have done it all myself, as bad as it was. But it was a learning experience, and you can definitely use different crystals next time when you're a little bit more experienced in wand making, which I will be. I may even do a video later on of upgrading these wands and see how that works out. But I was very happy with these wands, and I'll give one to my daughter if she wants to try and learn things like spells and rituals too. But there really is no end to the amount of things that you can put on your wand. You can go all out and have it razzle dazzle, or you can have a plain wand just as it is. You can use other bits of nature, which I was actually going to put some gum nuts on one of the wands, and I may still do that. It was definitely a thought. But I do recommend making a wand, even after all the trial and error, as you bond with it. When you're sanding that wand or choosing the wood and selecting the crystals and attaching it all together, it really is a wonderful experience creating it yourself, and it will be just that little bit more powerful. But my wand would probably be the red and black one. This one here, I really like this wand, and with the crystals on it, I really feel attached to this wand. So upcoming episodes, I'll have consecrating the wand or protecting the wand, charming the wand, something along those lines. But for now, this was how to create a wand. I really hope you enjoy the episode and the trial and error that comes along with it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're aware when I'm posting more videos. And have a wonderful day. Namaste.